Okay, in this video, I'm going to go over all the different questions that have been added for generating a key code. I'm going to explain how key codes are generated and what specific questions, which answers to specific questions would disqualify somebody from getting a key code and why. So right now you're looking at the intake form. I'm not going to fill out all of the other fields because I don't need to for the purpose of showing you how to complete this section. To get to the key code generator, you're going to click on key code, and then it's going to yield a series of questions that you need to ask your client to determine whether or not they qualify for the code. So the first one is to verify that that they started off at MyFreeTaxes.com instead of going to hnrblock.com. And this is a common occurrence. A lot of people will start off by just Googling free tax prep. They'll either go to H&R Block, which offers a free federal product, or they'll go to the IRS Free File Alliance, which I'll show you right now. Which is a separate program from MyFreeTaxes, where all of these software companies like TurboTax, TaxAct, TaxSlayer, H&R Block will offer their software for free, but there are certain conditions that people have to meet to qualify. And some of their qualifying criteria are stricter than MyFreeTaxes. There might be an age requirement. So right here, freetaxreturns.com, you have to be below 70, or you have to live in specific states. There are a whole bunch of different qualifiers for each one of these software programs. And you can see here, there actually is an H&R Block free file. So this is confusing. Somebody might find out about H&R Block's free filing through the IRS, because this is on the IRS's website, and they might eventually think that they're using MyFreeTaxes, but they're not, because they didn't do it. They didn't create this H&R Block the correct way. They need to start here. They need to click on Got It, Let's Go, and they need to click Create Account here. If they do that correctly, then they should be able to log into that same H&R Block account every single year to file their taxes. And if they filed in 2015, 16, 14, when they log in to do their 2017 returns, they should see those 3 tax years in the My Previous Taxes section of the software. So once they complete this process, they will never have to do it again. But there are just a lot of people out there who get stuck, understandably, on creating the account the correct way, because there are so many different ways to get to H&R Block. You can see right here beneath the title to the field that it's either scripting or some kind of clue to help you ask the question. So verify that the client accessed their H&R Block account by going first to myfreetaxes.com, clicking on the orange Get Started button, and then there's a follow-up question. Did they create an account or log into an existing account? So what that means is when they got to the H&R Block sign-in screen, what did they do? Did they click sign in, or did they enter their username and password over here, or did they actually click create account? If they signed in, then chances are they're logging into an account that was created one of these other ways, and they just got themselves stuck in a loop. If they logged into an existing account that was not originally created by going through myfreetaxes.com, they do not qualify for a key code. So if the answer to the first question is, how did they access our software, and you select other, then you're going to get this message: client does not qualify for key code. And there are about 2 or 3 other instances where this code will generate this message. Otherwise, you're just going to keep clicking down through each field to get to the code generator. So I'm going to change this back to myfreetaxes.com to generate the next field. The next field asks for the name of the H&R Block software package that they're logged into currently. And you can see this by, let's see if I can get in here quickly enough. By looking at the package to the left, they should be in premium. There are several other packages that exist, though, that people can be logged into, and that's another indicator of how they created the account. Because if they're not logged into Premium, then it means that they probably didn't follow the steps of going first to MyFreeTaxes and clicking Create Account. And you can see here from this drop-down list all the other different types of packages out there. So there's free, there's something called More Zero, there's a basic package, a deluxe package, free file edition, best of both, and self-employed. Some of these packages don't exist anymore. I just kept all the packages that I know of that have existed over the past few years in case somebody does log into an account from a couple of years ago and for whatever reason they're seeing that old package still. Self-employed is a new package this year, and it's significant in the fact that we're actually using the self-employed package. It just still says Premium. Self-employed is basically Premium plus Schedule C. So just a heads up on that. We're actually not in Premium, but that's not really something you need to share with taxpayers because they're going to see Premium. So what you want to do here is select, you can actually select any of these and it'll still let you proceed to the next section. The objective here is to just find out, in addition to determining whether or not somebody qualifies for a Keycode, we're actually just trying to collect information about where they are now, because it might help us determine whether there's a hole somewhere. So if a bunch of people call us and they're logged into the More Zero package, maybe there's some website out there that's linking people to More Zero. I don't know. It just the more information that we collect from these types of callers, the better. So again, you can select any of these options, and it'll let you advance to the next field. I'm just going to select Premium right now, just to show what somebody who actually does qualify, who created their account correctly and is logged into the correct package, how they would get to a Keycode. The next question is logo. So ask whether the MyFreeTaxes or H&R Block logo is visible in the upper left of the client's screen. And that is in reference to this right here. If they see the H&R Block logo with the green box, then it means they're in the wrong account and they should start over, because if you select green box, you're going to get the red error message. So the answer to this should always be white banner if somebody is going to get a Keycode. Adjusted gross income, this is the final question, I believe, that determines whether or not somebody qualifies. And this one's pretty cut and dried. If your income is over $66,000, you should not get a code. Your income has to be $66,000 or less, your 2017 household adjusted gross income. The next field is called reason for fee, and this is in reference to where the client actually sees the fee message displayed. Like what kicked the software into generating a fee. Usually it's for something related to the federal return. So federal return means they've just got to the end of the federal interview, and after they go through that final wrap-up stage, the software tells them to cough up $39 or whatever. But sometimes it could also be when they add a state return. In the past, there's also been an EITC upgrade where anybody who qualifies for the earned income credit, once the software gets to that stage, it will tell them that they need to pay for it. And that's probably the result of somebody starting over here on the free file H&R Block. And then finally, Schedule C edition. This might come into play a lot more this year because of the fact that some people have Schedule Cs, but they're not in that that small business self-employed package that they should be. If none of these reasons is the reason why somebody actually got hit with a fee, just select federal return. But again, it doesn't matter which one you select because all four of them will generate the next field. The next question is, what is the fee? So how much are they being charged? And there's a whole list here. This is basically, I think $34.99 is how much a federal return costs. $36.99 is a state. And then the rest of these, or most of these, are just additional states added onto the federal, or certain taxes added on, like sales taxes added on to the federal and state. This list is not exhaustive, and usually it changes because H&R Block changes their fees every year. So there is an other option at the bottom, which you can select. And this, again, is just one of those fields that we're trying to collect information on people. It doesn't really have anything to do with whether or not a code can be generated. Again, another question that's just for informational purposes. We're just trying to figure out which year they created the account. If we get a whole bunch of people who got hit with a fee, who created their account last year, maybe that will tell us something about what's going on with Keycodes this year. So it goes all the way back to 2013, I believe, and then before 2013. And there's also a don't know option here because sometimes people won't remember what year they created the account. I'm just going to select 2015. And then finally, you want to collect their username. This is by far the most efficient way to find out how somebody's account was created. We can send this username to H&R Block and they can trace it. We're not going to do that a lot just because that's a lot of work on H&R Block's part. But if somebody is being charged a lot of money and there's just still a lot of confusion about how they ended up being charged a fee, we're going to need their username. So just get in the habit of collecting every single taxpayer's username who is inquiring about getting a fee. None of these fields are mandatory or required, because if they were, then you'd have to fill them out every single time you filled out an intake form, and we don't want that. So we're relying on you to be as meticulous and thorough as possible when generating these codes and making sure that all of these fields are filled out, including this one. There's nothing stopping you from leaving this blank. We just need you to complete it as many times as you can. So what I'm going to do next is click this code generator. I'm starting to wonder now if, okay, it would. I was a little worried that it wouldn't generate the code because all the other fields are not current or don't have entries selected. But this is the code, and you're going to give this code to the caller or the chat client. I would also recommend waiting until they actually enter the code and make sure that the code has actually worked. And I can show you what the Keycode generator screen looks like. So I'm going to go back to my fake W-2, and I'm going to up my income to $70,000. I don't care what the rest of this looks like because I just want to get to the part where they tell me that my income is over the limit. And let's see if I can get to the end here. Okay, so I'm being presented with a fee of $54.99. I'm going to confirm that I want to pay that fee. It's going to add some tax onto there. And then you can see a link right here that reads, I have a key code. If I click this link, then I can paste that code in there. I'm not going to put the code in because I want to use it on a real person. But if I were to enter this code here and click next, it would wipe out that fee. I believe the codes are worth $150, which covers pretty much everybody. But just to be safe, if you do have a client whose code is, or whose fee is above $100, I would flag them, and I'll probably add some notes there flag them and refer them to get their contact info and tell them someone will call them back, because we don't want to give a code to somebody where the whole fee isn't covered. You can only apply one code to a person, to an account. So if somebody owes $125 and they're being charged, and you only give them a code for $100, then they're going to have to pay that $25 if they want to continue with filing. So just a heads up on that. Don't give out codes for more than $100. You won't come into contact with a lot of people who owe that much money on these accounts.